I just wanted to have a chat about the wonderful menopause for the ladies that are going through that stage of their life. You will be able to appreciate what I'm about to talk about. If you're a man, you may not be interested in this, although it's not a bad thing to watch if you have a wife that's or a partner that's going through this as well, because it helps if you understand what we're having to contend with. Don't get me wrong, I feel like I'm getting through it fairly easily. I've not been too bad. I'm really grateful that I still have lots of energy, and I put that down to the fact that I've learned how to have lots of energy, having recovered from chronic fatigue syndrome years ago. And so it's quite surprising actually, because I've been having quite a lot of broken night sleep and don't sleep as many hours as I usually do. I'm the sort of person that usually has a consistent at least 8 hours sleep at night, even though I get up early. But just recently, I've been having hot sweats, hot flushes, and night sweats, and that, of course, wakes me up in the night. And the other thing I found, and I didn't sort of link the two, because in the cold light of day, I don't feel anxious at all. I don't feel depressed. I don't feel stressed in any way, shape, or form. But I think that actually there is an element of anxiety that I notice when I'm awake at night. There's been times when I've had heart palpitations. My heart races. I wear a Fitbit, so I can, sometimes when I wake up in the night and I can feel my heart race, and I look at that, and my heart rate is really going. So I think, although I'm not aware of it during the day, there is an element of anxiety going on, which can all be brought about by our hormones and our hormones being out of balance. Now, when I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue years ago, the first thing I did was to seek help by experts in lots of different fields of life. I went to lots of different therapists. I had lots of different tests done, all for natural purposes. So I didn't go to the medical profession. They'd already told me there was nothing they could do for me, and I'm quite grateful for that, because all they would have done was to give me medication. So, to try and combat some of the symptoms I was having, and I didn't want that. I knew I needed to heal my body from the stress that it had been through in the past, both mentally and physically. So I've always had that mind that, I got through that. I recovered from chronic fatigue just by giving myself a complete overhauled mind and body and gut and everything. And that's why, with my coaching, that's what I teach people, that it's a whole lifestyle thing to be able to combat the effects of chronic fatigue syndrome. And I did that, and I've continued to stay full of energy. I don't have any of those symptoms that I used to have. However, the things that I did to keep me well, the things that I've been doing to keep me well, suddenly aren't always working on certain areas of my life. So, for example, I'm struggling with controlling my weight, and I haven't had a problem with that for a long time. But now, all the things that I previously did to keep my weight a good, healthy, stable weight isn't working anymore. So I'm at a loss to know what I need to do, and it's an ongoing battle to try to get that right. So that's one side. But it's because I'm dealing with this fluctuation of hormones that all women start to experience at this stage in our lives. Not wanting to go into the gory details, my periods have been mucking around for a good 4 or 5 years, I suppose now, and I was always absolutely regular, spot on 28 days. So they've been mucking around for a while. So I know that I've been, in this phase for quite a while. But it's only been the last couple of years I started to have this problem with my thermostat control, the having to take a fan around with me everywhere. And to start with, that was just during the day, or in the evenings. And it was a case of you have to start to wear layers, so that my husband laughs at me. I've got this lovely poncho, Mexican poncho that I bought when we were in San Diego, and it's always on the back of the sofa because I can wear a t-shirt and then it's on, off throughout the evening. And it just makes it easier, to be able to quickly be able to take my clothes off. So that's how it's been probably for a couple of years. But then last year I started to get night sweats and these heart palpitations, and that was then disrupting my sleep, which normally that would have an impact on anybody's life during the day. And although physically I feel energetically and mentally I feel on top of my game, it can't be good to be having broken night's sleep for lots of reasons. And I'm probably, although I feel good still, I'm sure that if I were to not have broken night's sleep, I feel even better. I would notice how much better I feel. So I don't feel it's a problem, but it and it's copable. It's uncomfortable. It's copable, but I don't want to just cope. It was a bit like when I was told I had chronic fatigue and that I'd have to learn to manage the symptoms. Well, I don't want to manage. I don't want to just cope with these symptoms. I believe that I can, and this is a bold statement, I know some of you might not agree, but I believe that I can eradicate these night sweats and hot flushes. But it's just a case of finding out how. Now, I'm not an expert when it comes to hormones. I have done a lot with my gut health, and it's something that I speak to my chronic fatigue clients about. It's important to heal the mind and the gut, but that doesn't mean I know the ins and outs. And I do my own I was going to say colonic hydrotherapy. I've had that in the past. Coffee enemas. I do those. I haven't done them so regularly recently, but will be getting back to them. So I know it's important, but I'm not an expert on it. So I know that I need to go and ask an expert for help. And I've always been willing to spend money on going to an expert for help. Always. It's my priority. I would do that over and above going out for dinner, and going out for dinner is my favourite pastime. But, my health comes first. So I've always prioritised my health and think nothing of paying for somebody to go and get help. And I do that. I go to kinesiologists when we can. Obviously, it's not been so easy. Anyway, I knew that I needed to find out more about my hormones. I know that it's because my hormones are out of balance that I'm experiencing these symptoms. And I absolutely believe that to sort that out, I can if I sort out my hormones, then I can sort out a lot of these symptoms, or these few symptoms that I have, to be able to glide easily through the menopause. Now, there's another thing, forgetfulness, they say. With the menopause, you forget your train of thought. I know that you probably all experienced that. I had something really important I was going to say to you. Oh, one of the things that was really interesting was last year. So at the end of last year, I was starting to really have these, night sweats, hot flushes and heart palpitations. And I started to look into natural supplements, which is something I've always done. I take certain natural supplements that I've taken for years, from when I recovered from chronic fatigue, and there's ones that I will always take because generally they're good. But I also realise that my body is changing and I need to have a natural health checkup. I need to find out if my body's lacking in something, and if it is, what it needs supplementing with, if I'm having too much of something else, if there's a certain food, because everybody is different. in what they can eat. And even, you know, you can be the healthiest of eaters, but there may be a healthy food that isn't good for you, or, you know, it seemed to be healthy food that isn't good for you. So I, yeah, so last year I started to look for supplements. A lot of people said about sage and all this sort of thing, but I was finding it really hard to find a sage supplement that didn't have loads of bulking agents in and everything else. I'm very particular about the supplements I take. I don't want anything in it that is going to be to my detriment in any other way. And bulking agents are often a thing. You know, there's all sorts of things in some supplements that can be more harmful than, you know, than anything else. So I was finding it a real challenge to find sage, because that's what people were recommending that didn't have all these bulking agents in. I was looking at all different types of things, and I came across a supplement that had 2 of the B vitamins in and CBD oil. Now, I'd never taken CBD oil in the past, never had a need to, thankfully. And if I'm honest, it scared me a bit. You know, I've never, in the whole of my life, I've never taken drugs. I've never smoked anything that I shouldn't. I've never even smoked. And it scared me. You know, I thought I would be a drug taker if I took this CBD oil. So I sort of stayed away from it. But anyway, I was reading a bit more on it and hearing a bit more about the different types, and I thought, oh, okay, it is a natural substance, and you know, I'm not averse to natural supplements. I take them and have taken them for years, and I came across this supplement that I felt happy to take, even if it was just in the short term, just to test it. And it had 2 B vitamins in it. I think it had B6 and B12 and CBD oil, and I think that's all it had. I'm not really sure though, and this is what bothered me, what the capsule was made of. Maybe a gelatin thing or something. It was like a jelly type capsule. But I thought, right, okay, let's just see if this CBD oil helps me. And I knew that B vitamins would be good too. And I wasn't getting those in any of my other supplements. So I thought, okay, we'll do that. Anyway, I started taking them, and I've always known from the past that you need to give supplements a good, I would probably say a good 2 months, even 3, to be able to say categorically whether they helped you or not. Obviously, if you have any adverse effects to any supplements, you should stop taking them straight away. But I would never think after 3 weeks that, you know, oh, it's not doing anything. So I gave it a good couple of months. And at first, I think I got to about 6 weeks, and I started, because it's always very gradual, I started to think, actually, yeah, I'm actually sleeping better. My thermostat control seems to be much better. I wasn't like taking clothes off and putting them back on again. I wasn't having night sweats. And the thing is, on my Fitbit as well, I can monitor my sleep, so I can see the quality of my sleep, and I could see from that I was having good quality sleep. So it seemed to me the only thing I had changed was the addition of CBD oil. So I felt that it was working. For various reasons, which I'm not going to go into now, I decided I didn't want to take those particular supplements anymore. And so I didn't order any more. But I've always felt in the past that a good way to test a supplement is by stopping it, because if those symptoms then come back, you can categorically say, well, it was that then that was helping those symptoms. So in a way, that was a good thing to do, because I stopped taking those, and sure enough, the hot sweats, the night sweats and the hot flushes have come back. My temperature control is sort of all over the place again. And I'm feeling this anxiety at night. As I say, I'm not aware of anxiety during the day. I do a lot for my mental health. I meditate morning and night. I'm a NLP practitioner, so I've done a lot of work in that sense. I know what to do to be able to keep my mind stable even throughout challenging times. So I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, but I feel the majority of the time, I mean, even if I have a blip, it only tends to last a day or so, you know, if that, and it's never really bad. So I don't consciously feel anxious during the day in my waking hours, but I do feel that I'm anxious because at night when I'm awake, when I wake up, I'm having heart palpitations sometimes. And also when I'm awake early hours, so, you know, sort of if I'm awake at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm finding that my mind is just buzzing, you know, and it's usually about work, you know, but not in an anxious way. Well, sometimes it is. It's a bit of an overwhelm way, but that's because I know there's certain times where I've got a lot going on with my work, and I'm sitting thinking I need to fit this in, I need to fit that in when I've got deadlines to work to. So that is a form of anxiety. But I wasn't getting that when I was on the CBD oil. So it obviously did help with any element of anxiety I had, however small it was. So I've decided to start taking a pure CBD oil again, and I've ordered that and it's come, and I can't wait to start taking it. But the reason I haven't started taking it is because I feel very lucky to have met this wonderful lady who, through a group that I belong to, a membership group, a mentorship group that I belong to with my business, and she lives in Gibraltar in Spain, and she is a hormone specialist and gut expert. So I'm now working with her to test my body, you know, for hormone imbalances. I'm also doing intolerance testing again because I haven't done that for years. I did it years ago when I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, and I haven't done it since. And to be honest, I eat anything I like because it doesn't tend to affect me noticeably anymore. Years ago, I couldn't eat most foods because my digestive system was, you know, shot to pieces really. So I've probably got into bad habits eating foods that maybe aren't so good for my body, but because such a subtle, it has such a subtle effect on my body, I don't notice it. But I'm now coming, like I did when I had chronic fatigue, I'm going right back to basics and saying, okay, I want to really look into what's going on in my body and what I need to do to make it work the best it possibly can and balance out those hormones. So I'm working with this lovely lady. I've got a testing kit. Actually, I was going to bring it here to show you. Hold on a moment. So this is the hormone testing kit. Here. Okay, so it includes all sorts of urine collection devices, saliva, all this sort of thing. So I've got to do this test. But so what I'm doing at the moment is for 3 days I have to stop taking any supplements that I'm taking, and I have to avoid coffee, alcohol, and certain things like that, so that we can get a good result from this test. She's going to walk me through how to do it when the time comes. And then I'm waiting for the intolerance testing as well, which is a pinprick test. So the first port of call is to discover what's going on in my body, to discover my hormone levels, and also if there's any foods that are more like a poison to me than a medicine, because it's important that I have the best foods I possibly can. So I thought I would share a bit of my journey with you for anybody that is interested in this, if you're going through menopause symptoms, because I'm starting at the beginning of the discovery stage. You know, up until now, I've been managing them quite well. And as I say, I'm still managing them fairly well. I've gone through the phase of having, you know, really heavy periods, flooding everywhere. That was probably the year before last. And I even had to go and have an ultrasound scan to just check that there wasn't anything wrong there, because I was flooding quite a lot for a long time. But I seem to have come through that, and now I haven't had a period for 7 months. So that side of it is, you know, sorting itself out and not bothering me too much now. So it's just for me, it's just the night sweats and hot flushes, and possibly anxiety, that although I don't feel it's bothering me, it obviously is there because I notice it during the night. So I'm going to share with you what happens, you know, how this goes, and if anyone's interested, and let you know, the process of the testing, and you know, what my findings are, what I need to do, and then take you on my journey if you want to join me as to how I stick to that, you know, because one of the things years ago when I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue was, you know, I was told what I needed to do, but it's another thing sticking to it. You know, we all have those challenges that you're told, okay, well, that food's not doing you any good. That's not. And often they're the things you love, you know, more often than not, they're the foods that you absolutely love and you probably have too much of them, which is why you sort of overdosed on them. So, you know, you can be with me on how challenging I find that. And that's where all my training in mindset comes in. And, you know, I will call on all my tools that I've learned. I'm trained in hypnotherapy, NLP, the emotional freedom technique or tapping, and theta healing, and I meditate. So I've got all these tools that I can pull on for the times when it's a bit of a challenge to stick to what I need to stick to. Because I'm determined, you know, the only way I recovered from chronic fatigue and all those symptoms was to take responsibility actually and do what I needed to do. And I'm not saying that's easy, you know, it's not easy because it can feel quite restrictive at times. But the idea is to make it not feel restrictive, to sort of change your mindset so that actually you don't feel that you're being restricted or you're losing out. And that's where the mindset side of it comes in. So I'm really excited. So the lady I'm working with, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm really excited also that we've decided to collaborate on a project together because, you know, I have been helping people with chronic fatigue for a long time now. And my expertise is, yes, I have all the knowledge of what I had to do in 6 different areas of my life to recover from chronic fatigue, but my training is in the mindset side. She is in the hormone and gut side. Now, I always tell my clients that, you know, it's as important to heal the mind as it is the gut and vice versa. You know, some people call our gut our second brain, and I absolutely believe that. You know, I don't believe that without healing one or, you know, without healing both, I would have recovered from chronic fatigue and stayed recovered. I don't believe that. I had to heal both of those and continuously look after both of those. You know, it's a continuous journey. So I am really excited to be collaborating with this lady. And it's really nice for me to go through her program, if you like, you know, to go through her tuition, so that I can you know, tell other people how good it was and how it worked for me. You know, I can speak from experience because everybody I've ever recommended to my clients, I've only ever spoken from experience. They're people that I have had experience of using for myself. The same with any supplements I recommend, any tools or techniques I recommend. They're all things that I used to recover my health, regain my health. And so, yes, so we're collaborating, and I'll tell you all more about that in time. But that's not what this is about. This is to say that actually it's about getting, you've heard it before, a holistic view of our health, you know, and that's something that in my my program that I talk about. You have to get every element of your life in balance to be able to be the best you possibly can. So working with this lady really is going to complement what I can offer my clients too. I'm just so excited to be able to, you know, in the past I've had to refer them to other, you know, not refer them to others because, you know, I work with people all around the country, all around the world, so it's hard for me to refer them to another specialist that I have experienced. So I have to I felt like there was always a bit of a loss. I was at a loss I had to say, well, you need to go and find somebody that can do colonic hydrotherapy for you, or you need to go and find somebody that can do this. So I felt like I was sending them away and wasn't giving them a full package, if you like, although I was giving a lot to them, enough for them to be able to really change their life. I always felt there was that little element that was missing. And that's why I'm really excited to be collaborating with this lady, because I feel that it means that I can, you know, within this can offer the whole package to ladies of our age that are, you know, struggling with hormone imbalance, gut health, um, you know, chronic fatigue, digestive problems, anything like that. It just is a whole overall package. So I am going to share this journey because I just think there's lots of ladies out there that it could help. And you can watch me go through it, warts and all, see what happens. I'm also hoping to lose some weight along the way. You know, I don't focus on the weight loss. I focus on the things that are preventing me from losing weight. And I don't mean what I eat, exercise and everything. It's like there's obviously something going on in my body that is meaning that the things I used to do aren't working. So I'm having to learn a whole new way of eating now, I think, and exercising. So take care, everyone. And if you're struggling with these menopause challenges, we can do this. We can do this. And I absolutely believe that we can get through this without having to suffer. So bye for now, and I'll speak to you soon.